So, Namaskaram, Namaste from Hyderabad. I am Dr. TPS here. It's quite recent, maybe a month back, I could have an interaction with my brother Chandra from USA through somebody's contact. I was told that and I was made to understand that he is running a organization called Bridg360, which is doing a lot of support for education in USA, and he has got good contact with a few universities around. When we had a dialogue and discussion around personal discussions, I came to understand that he is a chemical engineer from the university where I postgraduated in mathematics. I never knew that my university was giving a graduation in chemical engineering, because that was under Thrissur Engineering College. When I became director of the university, that time that college was under my university in Calicut University. So I had too many contacts with the college where Chandra graduated in chemical engineering. Then he worked in Ahmedabad, where he was with the Ministry of Commerce. That was in 97. I was made to understand 97. 89 to 90 I was in Ahmedabad. I worked with space applications under Ahmedabad. And then he changed over to, shifted from Ahmedabad to different places and then reached out to USA, and then he shifted his field from chemical engineering to IT. He was the IT consultant for World Bank in the headquarters in Washington DC, director of an IT service and company, and I was made to understand that he gave opportunity for more than 1,000 people to get visa, and many of them get into green cards all over the globe who are migrated to America. And probably this persuaded him to start this company, and then thought that why not make students from different parts of the world to migrate. And I know that he is having connection in Gulf, Nepal, India, and that is where we thought I can also circulate it around my group of people. Except last 2 years, I was a regular visitor in Gulf for almost 18 years. Maybe 100 times I must have gone to schools and colleges. So I had good contacts with the Gulf, but last 3 years made a lot of differences. So he is giving assistance to students from India to get admissions in US universities, and started this Bridg360, which now I am posted, or I am given an opportunity to serve as an advisor there. That is how I am into this program. And then there was a suggestion from Chandra that we will have this webinar on this day. So I thought, yes, the first option of suggestion which came, I should pick it up and then do this. Though we have only very less people seen the screen, I am given a status saying that 110 people registered, right? I am so glad that Dr. Vijay and Dr. Peter agreed to address and then have discussions with the people to learn what could be the options available and how the generic options are there. With this, probably I will invite Dr. Chandra to introduce Dr. Peter and Dr. Vijay, because he is the one who knows them and have contacts. So welcome to this program. I welcome all the responders who joined here, and then probably we will take a lot of discussions on the way. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. TPS. I'm really blessed to have Dr. TPS in our company as a board member and an advisor. He's an encyclopedia of information, and he is in almost any field you can think of, like yoga and learning, education, and space research, and bringing the community, backward community, and the downtrodden people. So I was amazed at the multitude of areas he has connections, and he has been dealing with after taking a voluntary retirement. Thank you, brother TPS, and I really appreciate your getting involved in the activities of Bridg360, which I'll elaborate in a few minutes. I'll not take much time of yours. And before I introduce Dr. Vijay and Peter Vermeulen, let me introduce myself a little bit more. And as you all know, my name is Chandra Atholi. I am basically from Tellicherry, Kerala. Now I am in Texas, near to Houston. I am a gardener by passion. You might be thinking, what am I doing here? I'm trying to seed thoughts in young minds. That's what I'm trying to do here. Okay? And I know you are all really achievers, because you already have come to a level of education where you're in a platform where you can rise to any level if you want. So you are all achievers, no doubt about it, each one of you who has signed up for this one. And you are motivated also, because you're motivated to sign up for this thing, to understand about what are these people talking about. So you have all the capabilities of getting your next level. That is where I thought I should come into the picture. That's where this Bridg360 is coming to picture. This whole journey started like almost 20 years, it is 2002, when my brother, he was in Air Force, he was a surgeon in Air Force, and he calls me and tells, hey Mohan, my son is graduating, that means my nephew is graduating from Government Engineering College, Trivandrum. And I know he has studied EEE, I think, electrical, electronics, and whatever that is. Yeah, and what do we do? Can we get a job for him here in India, Kerala? He might get, but what do you suggest? I said, if he has interest, means let us try to bring him to US. He said, is it possible? Is it that easy to come? I said, yeah, let's try. That's how this whole seed got into me. And then I started working with the university, my university. I talked with how I got my first nephew here. After that, it is history. I got a lot of my nephews and relatives and friends over this many years. And recently, when I took a sabbatical from my main job, I thought, why don't we do it more professionally and try to make it good for a lot of people. That's how this Bridg360 came. What is Bridg360? We are trying to bridge the gap. We are trying to bridge the Indian students with the American system. We are trying to bridge the US universities with the Indian colleges. That's what basically I'm trying to do, bridging. And I've been able to bridge many Indian colleges with the universities in US. I work with 4 or 5 universities, this one. Now, let me break it down a little bit. I may take 3 or 4 minutes more only. Why, what, and how this Bridg360? Why we wanted to have a Bridg360? How this Bridg360 works and what? Let me answer the question, what, first of all. What is Bridg360? Bridg360 is trying to empower the new generation. So that is our main goal, is to empower the new generation. And the second goal is to make US education accessible for middle income families. So these are my two goals. One is empowering the new generation. Second is accessibility for middle income people. Okay, that is my what. And now my why. Why do we have to have, there are hundreds and thousands of agencies in India and worldwide who does this one. But what I understood is the information that is out there, there are a lot of misconceptions myths and misinformation around. People don't really know the process. So people have lots of questions like how much is it costing? It can be any range. So they don't know how much it is costing. What is the visa application? What is the actual process? Can I stay back? Will I get a job? Isn't there an immigration issue in the US? All these things. So that's why I thought we should have this one. That is the why part of Bridg360. And the last one I want to see the how part. How are we doing it? We handhold the students one by one. We handhold the Indian colleges one by one and direct the students step by step, telling how it is to be done, starting from the application process to you landing here in US and getting to your dome. That is what hand-holding I mean. We'll be doing it all the way. 360 degree will be doing it for you. So this is what Bridg360 is doing, and this is what we are trying to do. And I want you all people to dream big, and if you dream, you can make it. Absolutely, there is no this thing. You don't have to get a mediocre job. You don't have to get a mediocre salary. You dream big. Let the sky be your limit. Okay. With that, I'll stop it, and I want to turn it over to the main speakers here. And I have Peter Millen. And Peter, as I was telling, he's a globetrotter. He travels across the world. Many times I tried to contact him through WhatsApp. He told me when I'm meeting, Chandra, WhatsApp is good for me. I tried to contact him through WhatsApp, but he's in some part of the world. And after a few days only, he'll be able to even access the message. So he's a very busy person. And UNT is a 40,000 student university. It's not a small university. It's a 40,000 student university. He's going to get into the details. And he's the international recruiter for the university. And then I want to introduce Dr. Vijay Vaidyanath. He's the founding chair of Biomedical Engineering in UNT. And both of them are good friends of mine. And he has been very fascinated about arranging a program like this so that he can come up with his thoughts and his ideas on higher education in US. So without wasting much time, let me hand it over to UNT. Here we go. Peter?
Great. Thank you so much, Chandra, for the introduction. Let me try and share my screen. And Vijay, could you enable that I share slides?
Sure.
Before you start, let me just add one more thing. This is not going to be a monologue. This is going to be a dialogue. I want everyone to be ready with questions, and we all are capable of answering any of your questions. I hope we will be able to satisfy you with our answers. So be ready with your questions. Peter, sorry for interrupting.
Great. Thank you, Chandra. And so welcome, everyone. My name is Peter Vermeulen. I'm the Director of International Student Recruitment at the University of North Texas. Quick shout out to the wonderful host for today. We really appreciate our collaboration. DrTPS, Chandra, you're such a wonderful partner in this effort to give students opportunities for their U.S. journey. So we're at the University of North Texas, UNT, and we're a very large public university in the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolis. If you take a quick look at the geography of the U.S. from the night sky, you'll see that where the economic activities is focused in the U.S., you'll see it light up very bright in the night sky. And Dallas-Fort Worth, where we are located, is one of the brightest spots in that night sky, right here in the north of Texas. You know, international students, when they choose where to study in the U.S., there's basically 4 states that are very top of their list. They're New York and Massachusetts, Boston area, they're California, and they are Texas. And this is for a good reason, right? Texas, very well connected to the global economy through this huge economic motor in our region, the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, 7 runways, 50 million people pass through this motor every year. And so that is why so many of the tech firms are moving to Texas and provide great opportunities for our students to have internships and to launch their careers. So with that, we are just about 30 minutes north of this huge city area called Dallas and its sister city, Fort Worth. And what you're looking at here is one of the city centers with many of those high-tech firms that I mentioned. Firms, of course, in some of the traditional sectors, like the energy sector. We have the largest energy company in the world, ExxonMobil, right on our doorstep. But also some of the much newer firms, like Dell Computers, firms in the defense industry, like Bell Helicopter, and also new arrivals like Tesla, which we'll come to talk about in a moment. So we're in a very safe student town called Denton, Texas. Typical small town US feel with a courthouse in the middle, lots of wonderful restaurants around, and the students really love this environment to study in. The campus itself is like a small village. We are one of the largest universities in Texas with now 45,000 students, about 5,000 students from all over the world. In the US, you have basically 2 types of universities. You have those that only teach and those also that produce the knowledge. And so we are very much a research university where, in addition to having great programs on the go for the students, we also have many lab opportunities. And so the ranking that is important for us is the Carnegie Foundation ranking, where we are a top 3% research university in the US. So as we speak during this webinar, you're really at a great time to be considering studies in the US and onward steps in your career. You know, during the COVID period, a lot of industry, a lot of companies were very cautious, right? They were very unsure as to the future. And so they were on hold, if you will. And a number of companies had to let people go. But now that we're climbing out of this pandemic, a lot of companies are poised to bring in new talent to their organizations. And so you're at a wonderful moment in the economic cycle, because perhaps we'll go through some uncertainty in the next year or so, possibly a mild recession. But companies are really looking ahead for the next 10, 15 years to hire new talent. And if you look at the talent that companies are hiring, especially in the STEM fields, there tends to be a cycle to this. You know, I've been coming to the Gulf and to India for many, many years now. Just about 10 years ago, when I would be in India, I would look on the back of an auto and it would say telecom, and everyone wanted to be a telecom engineer. And then just 5 years ago, just before the pandemic, I would look on the back of the auto and it would say networks. And everyone wanted to be a networks engineer. Now, just in April, when I was in India, I look on the back of the auto and it says data science. And many people want to be involved in this big data world. And so here you see the progression of technologies that come out and new engineering fields that emerge. And in a moment, you're going to hear from Dr. Vaidyanathan as well. how very much his field, biomedical engineering, is part of this development, this new development where many companies are screaming out for talent in this new area. Physically, we see this in Texas, for instance, with a huge tech firm like Tesla that just made this investment in a huge gigafactory that they have placed here in North Texas. This factory, the span of it is longer than the runway at Hyderabad. So that gives you a sense of just how huge this investment is. And why do companies like this invest in North Texas? Well, basically because of you, because of the talent that comes to us from the Gulf, comes to us from India, and that are studying in universities like University of North Texas. You know, these companies don't make the decision for today or tomorrow. They don't make the decision for if it's Trump or anyone else in the White House. They make decisions based on 15, 20, 25-year plans, and your talent is very much part of their plan. I had the chance recently to, you'll already see, I love big buildings. I had the chance recently to talk to the folks at Toyota, which is one of the huge tech firms on our doorstep for North Texas. And the human resource director showed me around their company. And he told me something that I found really interesting that's very relevant for you on this webinar. He said, Pete, there's basically a pendulum swinging in a certain direction at the moment. He said, look, if I look at half of our building, the building is kind of in the shape of a banana. And so he showed me first around the part on the left-hand side of your screen. And he said, look, Pete, this is where we have all the traditional engineers, computer scientists, mechanical engineers, automotive engineers, electrical, those kind of folks. And he said to me, he said, basically, we have enough of those. But he said, where we really want to invest in new talent as a company like this, Toyota, is in the newer areas. Data engineering, artificial intelligence, new materials, cybersecurity, those kind of specialized engineering programs, and biomedical engineering is very much part of that set of specialized master's programs. You see, if I walked around that other side of the building, and if you look on the doors, it says, it looks more like a research center. It says big data center. It says artificial intelligence lab, all those kind of things. So the signal is there. These companies are not looking for this talent in the future. They're looking for it right now and as quickly as they can get this talent. And North Texas is really geared to provide you a great start in these fields. In the area of computers and IT, we have a full master's in artificial intelligence, a full master's in cybersecurity. In analytics, we have data science and areas of analytics in business analytics, but also data engineering, which is analytics within the engineering area. And these are in huge demand in these new tech firms. And then if I look at engineering as well, the four areas that are still in huge demand in Dallas-Fort Worth are electrical engineering, especially robotics and new energy sources like battery technology, mechanical and energy engineering, anything to do with nanotechnology in the material sciences, and very much coming up and coming biomedical engineering. So I'll say one or two more things just about the cost of studying in the US, and then I will hand it to the real expert in biomedical engineering, Dr. Vaidyanathan. So when you think of cost of studying in the US, the costs are very, very different. East Coast and West Coast in the US are much, much more expensive to live and much, much more expensive to study. And so in your consideration of where to go, think definitely of that great economy in Texas, but also think about the cost differences, which to East Coast or West Coast can be as much as 25% saving. In addition to that, the University of North Texas has the ability for students who are very well qualified or get assistantships to have access to in-state tuition. And this can be as much as a 50% savings on your tuition. So we can talk about that for hours and hours, but I don't intend to do that. There's a very simple way that you can keep in touch with our recruitment office. From the Gulf and anywhere around the world, you can reach us at study@unt.edu. And especially for South Asia, for India, Nepal, Pakistan, we have a separate email where you can reach our regional office, southasia@unt.edu. And so with that, I'll pass it back to my colleague, Dr. Vijay Vaidyanathan.
Thank you, Peter. I really appreciate that presentation. And first of all, thank you to everyone, especially to Chandra for organizing today's event, to Dr. TPS and everyone who has taken the time to be here and to listen to what we have to say. I really appreciate your time and effort to be here. I'm sorry I have to keep, I'm getting a little distracted because people are still coming in, so I have to admit each and every one of them. So
okay.
Please excuse me if I pause because I guess people are still logging in, so I have to admit whoever logs in. But anyway, really appreciate everyone taking the time to be here. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I have a short presentation that I need to share with you. And that basically ties into a lot of things that Peter presented, about what is happening in North Texas, specifically in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and how these new branches of engineering are flourishing, and not only flourishing, but also the interdependencies between these programs. So when people think about things like AI and data science, they don't just stand by themselves. Even in the field of biomedical engineering, where you are dealing with enormous amounts of patient data and various kinds of patient information, the concept of cybersecurity and big data comes into play. Also, artificial intelligence. I mean, we are now heading towards a future where most of our lives, if not all, I don't want to scare everybody, but maybe controlled by AI. I don't know how many of you have heard of Vinod Khosla. Have you heard of Vinod Khosla? Can we have a show of hands? Okay, Dr. TPS is nodding, so I'm sure he knows about Vinod Khosla. But for the rest of you, Vinod Khosla is the founder and CEO of Sun Microsystems, way back in the Bay Area. Nowadays, he's an angel investor. He invests in futuristic technologies. He wrote a very interesting essay some time ago, and that was about, I think, the redundant doctor or something. I may be forgetting the exact title. But what he was essentially trying to say was, in the future, medical schools, he felt, should hire only students, should recruit students who only have a sense of empathy and basic skills. Because he said that the future, everything will be taken over by AI. And all that is needed from doctors would be empathy and the ability to communicate with patients, in a polite, sympathetic manner. So very interesting. And some time ago, Bill Gates was asked a similar question. He was asked, what do you think are the big areas that are going to come up in the future? And Bill Gates responded by saying AI, big data, and anything to do with biomedical engineering and biomedical sciences. Because, you think about it, even if AI takes over for at least some period of time, and I'm saying this with my tongue firmly in cheek, for at least some period of time, we will continue to be human beings. And as long as we are human beings, we are governed by laws of nature, and we will fall sick, we will get better, we will undergo certain procedures. And these procedures and illnesses are evolving as are human beings themselves. So you need technology, to make these treatment modalities, diagnostic modalities better. And when these modalities are done, you're going to generate enormous amounts of data. I mean, you think of the population of India, right? I mean, 1.5 billion people. Populations are growing. You need, when you need enormous amounts of data management capabilities. You need to keep them secure. You need to develop these technologies. So, all these programs that Peter mentioned, data science, AI, cybersecurity, biomedical engineering, they're all interconnected. Okay. So what I'm going to present today to you is my department of biomedical engineering. So in 2012, I was the associate dean for academic affairs in the College of Engineering. And the then dean came to me and said, hey, we need to have biomedical engineering in this college. And you're going to do it. So he entrusted me with the task of creating the biomedical engineering department. So for me, it was a huge task to create this department single-handedly. And also, understandably, the university was hesitant to commit a lot of resources because this was still a very nascent project. And so I was told very clearly that we are going to see how you do this, and we'll commit to resources after we see that you've attained certain amount of success. So I was told 2 years, it's just going to be you, no other faculty. You're going to do this by yourself. So I created this program. I started it as an undergraduate program. We had 45 students in our first semester. Today, almost 8 years later, we are at 300 plus students. We are now at no longer a faculty of 1, we are now faculty of 11. We have more than $5 million in research funding. We are going to hire 2 more people who are going to join in the fall. One of them is going to bring $2.5 million in funding just by himself. We have a couple of faculty who not only have research funding, but have startup companies. And so what I'm going to present to you, and I'm going to share my screen in a minute, is about this biomedical engineering program. Okay. So let me share my screen.
PJ, I've taken over admits, so you don't need to worry about admits anymore.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. So everyone can see my screen? Okay,
yes.
Good. So I'm going to talk about biomedical engineering here. And so this one slide actually encapsulates everything about our biomedical engineering. Okay, so we started in 2014 as a bachelor's program. Master's program started in 2017. And our PhD program got approved in 2021. We have currently 302 students. The amazing feature of our program, especially in the US, I know it is not uncommon to folks in India, but in the US, it is pretty amazing to have 48.5% of the engineering student body is women. I've been to India and given talks in colleges and universities where the auditorium was more than 50% women. So it is in India. It's not something that to be surprised about. But in the United States, to have 50% women in the student body in engineering is a big thing. 43% of our student body is underrepresented minorities. We have graduated more than 150 students in these last 4 years since we started graduating. We started in 2014, and our first graduates walked the stage in 2018. So the unique feature of our bachelor's degree is our students graduate with a major in biomedical engineering, and they get 2 minors, a minor in mathematics and a minor in any other engineering. And we have the other unique feature of our program is we have 8 tracks in our biomedical engineering bachelor's program, including business and pre-med, should someone want to go to medical school. That same concept extends to our master's degree, where our students can get a graduate minor in any other engineering discipline or biology, a business, even music. Because as I don't know if you're aware of this, but UNT College of Music is among the top 5 in the world. And there's one faculty in the College of Music, Dr. Chris Chesky, who actually combines music with engineering and science, basically practicing music in medicine type of research. So you can actually do research in that area and get a minor in music as well. Then the other unique programs that we have is I have partnered with our College of Business to have a 2-year MS MBA. That means in 2 years, you can get 2 graduate degrees, Master of Science degree in Biomedical Engineering with us, and MBA from the business school. In addition to that, the College of Engineering has a master's program in AI, and even in that, you can have a biomedical engineering concentration. And even in that program, what I've done is if you stay 1 more semester, you can get a master's in biomedical engineering. So these are all very, very productive degrees from a student point of view. And of course, our PhD in biomedical engineering got approved in April 2021. And currently it's moving ahead full steam. We actually have close to 20 students in our PhD program within the first year. So enormous growth. And you see the Abet symbol there on the screen. That tells you that we are an accredited program. So Abet Accreditation, Abet used to stand for Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology, a national body in the United States that accredits undergraduate programs. So we are an Abet accredited program. And what you see on the screen is our brand new biomedical engineering building. Well, I said brand new, but relatively brand new. It's 3 years old now. So when the program became successful, the university realized that they had to give me something. So I said, I need to grow. And so the university built this building for me. I was involved in planning and, and designing this building, and now it is in place. It houses 3 classrooms, all our research labs, all our teaching labs, all our faculty offices, student offices. It's a 26,000 square feet facility devoted just for biomedical engineering. And the pictures that you're seeing here of equipment, these are not just copied from the web. These are actually equipment that we have in our department. Just to mention 2 of them, you see this one of our former students here. She is actually performing virtual surgery on a virtual surgery table called the Anatomage. Here you can pull up virtual cadavers, you can remove body parts, and you can insert implants that you create using SolidWorks. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
I thought someone said something.
No, that is side
no
talk.
problem. Actually, that other room key was.
Can you turn off your microphone?
Separate room is there downstairs.
Dr. TPS, who is that?
No, I turned off his microphone. It was Ram Babu.
Okay, thank you.
So And the other one, BioBots, that you see here, that Peter also had in the slide, that's actually a bio 3D printer that we have in our labs that our students can use to bio 3D print artificial tissue, for example. So these are all the faculty research areas that our faculty represent. As you can see, it covers a very wide spectrum of biomedical engineering, nanotechnology, biotechnology, biomaterials, medical imaging, genetic engineering, tissue engineering, robotics, instrumentation, bio 3D printing. I mean, these are all the hot areas in biomedical engineering. And as you can see, our faculty research covers all of them. And of course, what is of interest to all the students is what happens after you finish your degree, right? What is going to happen to you? So these are all the companies. As you can see, these are top biomedical engineering companies in the nation and in the world. And they employ all our students. Okay. In fact, just yesterday, one of our master's students who came from Hyderabad came to inform me that she got a job offer from Amazon. Very, very attractive salary, and she's going to start with them in September as soon as she finishes her degree in summer. As you can see, Abet, Alcon, Biomedics, even a company like Lockheed Martin hires our engineers. Zimmer Biomet hires our student. In fact, one of our students who came from India with the MBBS, she got a master's in biomedical engineering and is employed as a design engineer at Zimmer Biomet. Orthofix is another biomechanics and prosthetics company that employs our students. In addition to these companies, our students are in medical schools and also other top graduate schools like Cornell, Johns Hopkins, and things like that. Okay? Institutions of that nature. So here is a timeline of our lifetime and how we have evolved since 2014, when we started as a predominantly undergraduate program with 45 majors. Started the master's program in 2017, first graduates in 2018, a new building in 2019. We became Abet accredited in 2020, and finally in April 21, we had our PhD program. And now, we are a flourishing department here at UNT with more than 300 students, and as I said, about 11 to 13 faculty. So here are some numbers on where we are on our undergraduate and graduate population. You can see that from the graphs, the pie graphs, that we are a pretty diverse student body. All ethnicities are represented. You look at our student body enrollment, undergraduate, 48.5% female. Look at the graduate enrollment, more than 50% of our PhD student body and master student body is female. And you can see some numbers there, like where the research expenditures of our faculty, our teaching and research assistantships in the past few years. So for those of you who are interested in the bachelor's program, we offer 8 tracks. And depending on the track you choose, you can get a minor in any other engineering discipline, like electrical, mechanical, material science, computer science, biology, material science. So it's a very versatile degree, and it's what in that sense, I can call it a 3-in-1 degree. You get a major in biomedical engineering, you get a minor in mathematics, and you can also get a minor in any one of the other engineering disciplines. So to this audience, the primary interest would be in our graduate programs. So here is a little snapshot on our master's program in biomedical engineering. We have 2 options. 30 hours with a thesis option that involves 24 hours of coursework and 6 hours of thesis. 33 hours of non-thesis option, that means you take basically 11 courses, that is 33 hours. And as I was mentioning earlier, you can choose your electives from biomedical engineering or any other engineering, or even management or health services administration, performance arts health in the College of Music, or even speech and hearing. So a wide range of electives to choose from depending on your area of interest. In terms of variety of degrees. We have, like I said, we offer the MS MBA. We offer, MS in AI with biomedical engineering concentration, and one more semester you can get 2 master's degrees, and our very, very unique PhD degree. Our PhD degree has 2 tracks, which one is the conventional research track, and one which is being offered for the first time in a state university in Texas, which is the healthcare startup management track. So not only can you do research in PhD, you can also take courses in business and develop business plans to transition your dissertation into a healthcare startup. This is the first of its kind in a Texas public university. And I'm very proud to say that, my proposal was accepted by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, and it has now come into place. And in my proposal, I had said that we would be at 20 students in 5 years. I'm very, very happy and proud to report that we will be at more than 20 students by fall 22 within 1 year of starting our PhD. So these are all very promising signs of growth in the department. In terms of reputation and strengths, for a program that is only 8 years old, we have been ranked 9th in the nation for biomedical engineering 2 years in a row by Best Value Schools. And recently, Intelligent.com ranked our master's program as 2nd in the nation as best preparation for PhD in 2022. And as I was saying, our PhD startup track is the first of its kind in Texas in a public institution. So that was our reputation, but of most interest to you is who are our faculty, what are the kind of research they do, because that's what graduate students are most interested in. What are the research opportunities that are available in this program? So I'm just going to run through our faculty. So we have Dr. Yon Yang. His area of research is in micro and nanotechnology, especially overcoming the blood-brain barrier, coming up with tissue on chip. Then we have Dr. Muya Lee, who is an authority in the area of bio 3D printing. In fact, when he came to UNT, he also brought a startup company with him. And he has a patent on a pillar plate 3D printing structure that he uses to create human organoids that mimic liver, brain, and intestine. Then going over to the other side, to the biomechanics side, we have Dr. Amir Jafari. Dr. Jafari is an expert in the area of soft robotics and exoskeletons. He's our biomechanics and robotics applications expert. Then we have Dr. Clement Chan, whose all his degrees are from MIT. Dr. Chan's area of research is in genetic engineering. I forgot to mention that Dr. Jafari, all of these professors are very well funded. Dr. Lee has NIH R01 grants. Dr. Jafari is a recent recipient of the National Science Foundation Career Award. Dr. Clement Chan has more than $2 million in funding from NIH and NSF. Dr. Neda Habibi, she is actually Dr. Jafari's wife. So we have a very dynamic research power couple in our department. Dr. Habibi's research is in the area of cancer treatment using nanotechnology. Then we have Dr. Brian Meckes, who is an assistant professor also. His area of research is in advanced biotechnology, stem cell differentiation, nanoparticle drug delivery systems for treatment of cancer and other diseases. And then as far as tissue engineering is concerned, we have Dr. Adam Yang, whose area of research focuses in the area of tissue engineering and regenerative medicine. Dr. Lin Lee is our resident medical imaging expert. His work also encompasses use of EEGs for epileptic seizure detection. Then in the area of biomaterials and biopolymers, we have Dr. Melanie Ecker. Her research is very interesting. She works on flexible bioelectronics and neural interfaces, designing innovative probes for monitoring the gut and the brain. We have Dr. Xiaodan Shi, who is also a teaching faculty member. She also has a postdoctoral research fellowship, which she had after completing her PhD. Her research areas of interest are in tissue engineering and biomechanics. My area of interest in research has been in biomedical instrumentation, biomedical optics, and recently, I'm really, really interested in doing some things for the elderly, biomedical engineering for the elderly, using modern real concepts in engineering and technology to come up with technologies that will make the life of elderly better. In addition to that, we have some other joint faculty who are part of our program. Dr. Pam Padilla is actually now the VPR, which stands for the Vice President for Research at UNT. Her research is in the area of genetics. Then we have Dr. Rita Patterson, who is the Associate Dean for Research at the UNT Health Science Center in Fort Worth. She's an adjunct faculty in our department. She teaches our courses in biomechanics. Dr. Al Yerwadi and Dr. Jonathan Toon and Dr. Kisa Mathis are also faculty in the University of North Texas Health Science Center in Fort Worth, and they are adjunct faculty in our department. Dr. Mark Albert is an assistant professor in computer science. He also has a joint appointment with our department. He is an expert in AI and use of machine language for biomedical engineering applications. And lastly, one of our adjunct faculty is Ms. Denise Ressler. She is a 20-year veteran of working with FDA to approve devices and get them approved by the FDA. She has her own company, and she currently teaches an undergraduate course in FDA regulations and will also be teaching a graduate course in FDA regulations and international standards, which is so, so important if you're going to do business in the US, if you're going to work in the area of biomedical engineering in the US, even internationally. So as you can see, we have these very specialized courses in the department, which will help our students be very competitive in the job market. So these are all our adjunct faculty. And I'll end my slide presentation with the last slide. This slide, I love this slide because Japanese have a one word. It's called Ikigai. And Ikigai basically is the intersection of everything. What you do in life to make money, what you really love, what is your vocation, what is your profession. When all these intersect, the Japanese call it the perfect confluence, the Ikigai. And for me, my baby, this biomedical engineering department is my Ikigai. This is my passion. When I came to this country many years ago, I had a mentor who basically changed my life. I came here, I was very unsure of how my life would turn out. He instilled confidence in me, and I'm trying to pay it forward. We've graduated more than 150 students. I have nurtured students in our bachelor's program who graduated with bachelor's, master's, and who are now in our PhD. So to me, this is not just a department, but this is my passion. Okay. And I look forward to seeing more of you in our department. So I'll end my presentation here. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
I just want to share with the participants. Chandra, who is our host based out of Houston, there's a storm rolling through Houston, and so he's been kicked off the internet. But we will help with any questions you might have. Chandra is also on the phone with us. So
in fact, I'm hearing it. I am on audio. I'm able to hear, and I can answer the questions, and I can be present in the meeting, but not on video, looks like.
Chandra, stay safe. I know some of these Texas storms are really, really intense. So
yeah. It so happened, this happened while I'm having a conference. So it is sad. Anyway, I'm able to hear everything, and you can translate the questions. Now, I think, let me take over the meeting from here and say that It was a wonderful presentation, Dr. Vijay
Thank
and
you.
Peter. I think now we will open it for Q&A session. So let's invite all the questions from the participants. Dr. TPS, can you take
Yeah,
it?
anyone wanted to ask questions, you could unmute. I think the permission is there to unmute. You could unmute, show your video and ask questions directly. Not necessarily biomedical alone. It could be anything related to education in America and especially in the specific university, whether this course is available or not. And probably you could ask any details regarding fees, pre-requirements, all that questions are welcome.
Yeah, any questions are welcome, not specifically related to the discussion we had, but anything related to coming to US for higher studies for any of the courses they are interested.
No questions? Oh, okay, good.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Please.
Introduce
Hi,
yourself,
yeah.
Anjali. Yeah.
This is Dr. Yutta Parmar.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes. If you show the face, it will be good.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So, good evening, everyone. Actually, I joined the conference very late. My question is, my daughter is in 10th class. She is interested in medical. She is having her aunt and uncle in America. I inquired with them. She wants to do medical in America. They told me that it's better she get graduated from India. Afterwards, she come to America. Is that the right process?
When you say she wants to do medical, are you implying she wants to go to medical school in the US?
Yes, sir.
So medical school in the US, and Peter, feel free to jump in when you can. Medical school in the US requires the MCAT examination, and there are some other things that students have to do. In fact, quite a few of our students have gone to medical school from biomedical engineering. So these days, many students actually get bachelor's degrees in biomedical engineering because that gives them that engineering background as well before they go into medicine. But you have to do some other things like shadowing a doctor or a clinic. And of course, you have to take the MCAT, and you have to have certain courses in your course plan, like organic chemistry, physics 1, physics 2, chemistry, and all that. And you have to have a very good GPA and a good score in your MCAT to get into medical schools in the United States. So you cannot just, there's no MBBS degree in the US.
Let me add one more point here. She can come to US for doing an undergrad, maybe in any other field she likes, and then she can work towards pre-med and then get into the medical school. That could be the best option.
Yeah, there are no MBBS programs in the US. You have to get a bachelor's degree in any.
Yeah, directly MD she'll be getting. So first she has to do an undergrad, start an undergrad, and take some medical related courses, and then go to pre-med, and then she can go to the med school.
Right, sir.
Yes,
Thank you.
we'll put an email address in the chat, and we'd love to advise you further, but definitely the pre-med track
in the chat,
is
I
your best
earlier
option.
put some address also. Study in USA at Bridg360.com. If you're able to email, then we'll also take it up and talk with you one-on-one.
Right.
UNT has a pre-med office actually, and in biomedical engineering also we have a pre-med track, which we've actually sent at least 7 students to medical schools in the last 8 years. So there are a lot of options available.
Right, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Dr. TPS, can you read the chat that are coming? You can answer the chat.
Yeah, if once your questions are answered, maybe those who can come on to video and ask questions, we'll give preference first.
Okay, Aarti Verma asked in chat whether PhD course in philosophy is available in the US. I think the answer is yes.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, the University of North Texas offers several options to do a PhD. And one really interesting world-class program is actually in environmental philosophy. And again, we'd love to tell you more. I will put a link in the chat where we can continue that discussion. Philosophy is definitely a passion of ours, and we'd love to get you into the right program.
And Shivi Verma asked, are there any courses available for English literature enthusiasts? Yeah, there is an English department that offers courses in English literature. So, but in order to take those courses, you have to be a student in that department. And there was a question from Prashant Mehta, who asked in the chat, are you willing to collaborate with University in Gujarat, India for unprivileged or economically very moderate poor people? I don't know what you mean by collaborate. Yes, we have, and Peter can answer this also. We have tried to create partnerships with universities in India, and we're willing to do that. There are scholarship opportunities at UNT. They're all based, we are a state university, so they're all based on merit.
Yes, to add to that, we are in Gujarat province, in the state twice a year to Ahmedabad. And so we would love to meet up. We'd love to learn more about your institution. And so we're very keen to learn much more about you.
Yeah, get in touch with me in the email ID, and we'll have talk about this one, and we'll get to the next step. I think it is Prashant, someone, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Prashant, do get in touch with me through that one, and then we can go through that.
I see Dr. Vijay Kumar has raised his hand.
We can have to sit on this one. Okay? Yes, I did.
Dr. Vijay Kumar, his hand is up. Go ahead, sir. Dr. Vijay Kumar.
I think too much of disturbance. You could mute Dr. Vijay Kumar and put in the chat box. You can type in the chat box, Dr. Vijay Kumar, your audio is disturbing.
I see Rosanna Roy.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, I would like to know about the courses available in the University of North Texas. Like all the courses available for the master's degree, PhD, and all the levels.
In what area?
Oh my goodness! So
You have the whole day for me to listen.
we have more than 84 master's level programs.
What area? You be more specific. What area?
Sir, in the area of psychology, clinical psychology to be specific.
As you can tell from what I presented, I'm not in the Department of Psychology, so I don't keep track of what the courses they offer. But you can very easily find out what courses they offer by going to the website www.unt.edu, and in search column type Department of Psychology, and you'll get all the courses.
You know, in your time zone, we have a special resource for you. Her name is Gita Kuruba. She is our regional manager for South Asia, based out of Bangalore. I'm going to give you her contact, and you can ask her, and she will talk to you on WhatsApp as well. But I will put in the chat the email address where you can reach her. It is southasia@unt.edu. And so that's for anyone on the webinar today. If you want to talk to our regional manager based out of Bangalore, her name is Geeta. And so just email her and she'll connect on the WhatsApp with you.
Thank you very much, sir.
On the chat, many of you are asking about courses. What courses are there? I mean, you know, in today's age, you can get this information in 1 second. Just go to the website, type the department name. You know, it's difficult. I don't have the knowledge of all courses in every department. So please go to visit the website www.unt.edu, type the department of your interest, and look at the courses.
Hello, this is Chandra here from Bridg360 to the latecomers also. Regarding, I'm also seeing a lot of questions on the side. What are the various courses? Unlike the Indian universities where we have maybe 10 or 15 courses, here it can go to very high level, say like around 80 plus areas of study, and areas of study could be more than that also. So I think the best thing possible is you go into that UNT.edu website and explore, and I'm sure you'll find an area of your interest in this college. And this is a huge college, and they are equipped with whatever you want to, whatever possibly you can think of studying. That could be the answer for many of your queries, because I'm also seeing a lot of queries asking.
Dr. Vijay Kumar has a question.
It's your interest, because you already have a platform from where you can elevate to the next level. So try to make use of the facility.
Dr. Vijay Kumar's question is there in the chat box. Maybe.
Yeah, I was looking at it. So he wants to know, for pursuing undergraduate degree in computer science, data science, artificial intelligence. So your son is in +2. So if he wants to come to the US to pursue his undergraduate education, he will need to take SAT or I forgot the name of the other one, Peter.
ACT.
Sorry.
Just recently, Dr. Vaidyanathan, the University of North Texas has announced that we are being test optional, which means, in fact, that with their just their high school grades, they are ready to apply. It's great if they have an SAT or ACT score, really helpful for scholarships,
Exactly.
but it's not required.
English proficiency might be the only one that is required, TOEFL or IELTS, something like that.
Yes, and
And
there's a third
you
option
can get
called
undergraduate
Duolingo.
education after 12th grade from India or anywhere from the world for that matter.
Yeah, hi. Hello, I had a question. Myself, Pranali from India. I stay in Maharashtra. So currently, I've been working with a MNC for 2 years, and I've completed my bachelor's in computer science. And I'm looking forward to pursue MS in AI in this university. So I have currently a CGPA of 7.44 out of 10. What is the criteria of getting admitted into the university? Like in some universities they take CGPA or GPA of 3 point something out of 4. So how they calculate it? How would I get to know if I'm eligible for your getting admitted into your university?
Absolutely. So
Let me take this question, Peter. Your name is Manali, you said?
Pranali, Pranali, Pranali.
Pranali.
Hey, Pranali, yeah, you are a very good potential candidate for getting a master's in whatever subject you want to have. I don't think your GPA should not, your GPA is good enough for the admission, and I don't foresee a problem there. And for this year, I don't think there is a need for GRE. That I will ask Peter to elaborate on that one. So you have to just make an application, send an email to me, and get in touch with me directly. I'll suggest you what are the various ways you can do this one. And my email ID is studyinusa@bridg360.com. And Peter, is there a need for GRE score for 2023?
Yes, Chandra. So during the pandemic, when the test centers were closed, of course, we waived the GRE. But for most of our master's programs in STEM, the GRE is required. And so a student with a strong GRE score, upwards of about 300 and 165 on the quant scores, they will be very strongly competitive to be admitted to a program like the MS in AI at North Texas. Pranali, definitely your grade point average also makes you a very competitive applicant. So we invite you to apply. fall 2022, the admissions deadline is now passed, but spring is your first time that you can start with us, January.
And can you suggest the TOEFL or IELTS score she might have to get if she has not already got?
Absolutely.
Yeah, currently I am under preparing the IELTS exam, and I would be taking in June, mid of June this year only. So I'm looking forward to take admission in spring. But I wanted to know, GRE is compulsory for spring admissions as well, right?
It is, yes. And for IELTS, we're looking for 6-band. Another alternative that you have for your English score is the Duo Lingo Test, which you can do online, for which you need a score of 100 out of 160.
Okay. The 6-band of IELTS is irrespective of reading, writing, and
Correct.
speaking
It's
test.
overall score only that matters.
Yeah,
Okay,
and one
thanks.
a word of caution here to Pranali. I've heard students telling me that they took Duolingo and somehow they did not get the visa stamped due to some reason. I do not know whether it is English proficiency test being Duolingo. They did not get a stamping. I'm not sure. But most preferred will be
I don't think that is the case.
I don't think, Chandra, that's
people are
the...
taking, but I had one instance where they did not get stamped. I do not know.
It may be other. We've got
Duolingo is a thing that has come up recently, actually.
Chandra, I don't think that is the case.
Okay.
Chandra, we visited the U.S. consulate in Mumbai in April. We explicitly asked if there was an issue around other tests than the TOEFL or IELTS. They said no, there's no concern there at all.
Okay, great. So that's a great information.
Yeah. So one more question from my side, sir. What are the options or the possibilities that I can get a scholarship or an assistant researcher option or anything like work on campus? Is there any option if I get admitted in spring in your college or university?
Yeah, research assistantships, teaching assistantships are all available, but they're all given on merit. We are a state
Based on
university,
merit.
and we have to give it to students on the basis of merit. One advice I'd like to give all students in India is, please understand that teaching assistantship, research assistantship is not charity. It's a job. Okay, you have to perform a job. Many times students from India, unfortunately, I have to say this, they're under the impression that it just is waiting for them. They can come and say, oh, I don't have money, and it will be given to them. It is not. You have to show that you need to earn it. Okay, it's like applying for any job. Because remember, the teaching assistant job is you are actually working for the department, teaching labs for courses. Research assistantship, you are actually doing a job, doing research for your faculty member. That faculty member has responsibilities to write grants, proposals, and get funding. And so the research that you do factors a big way into him or her getting those grants. So it's like a job. So in order to prove that you need to get that job, you have to show that you have the skills to get that job. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like applying for any job, right? When you apply for a job, you don't say, oh, I don't have money, give me a job, right? You apply, you send your resume, you prove that you deserve it, right? It's the same thing.
To what Dr. Vaidyanathan was telling. This
Yes,
student university, and I believe 5,000, more than 5,000 students are internationally here. Peter can give the correct number. So it's going to be real competitive to get a teaching assistant. So you have to be superb in your course and in your everything. You should be an all-round candidate. Peter, you want to add something?
No, that's very true. Having said that, though, because we are a very large university, there are very many opportunities. And so I think, as Dr. Vaidyanathan explained, that if you prepare well, you present yourself professionally, if you make a strong case, then certainly getting an assistantship at North Texas is within reach. But it is a process. You have to network, you have to work with your faculty members, and so for all of that, one thing to keep in mind, because it's based on merit, you have to show 1 semester of strong coursework as well, because we don't want you to start working and be an assistant if you're struggling with your studies. And so if you've put in a strong first semester, then this is certainly within reach. And the moment that you reach the university, start exploring that, start looking at the labs where you might want to assist, talk to the seniors who may be rotating out of an assistantship and graduating, and in that way you can find your assistantship.
Thanks, Peter.
And Pranali,
What is the...
one more thing.
Yes,
You get the teaching assistantship after reaching US. So you cannot have a financial documentation based on the assumption that I'll be getting a teaching assistant. So,
No. I have heard that many universities do take interview for the same.
Of course, you'll have to go with the assumption that you're not getting a teaching assistantship, you're not getting a scholarship for the national student, whatever scholarship the university is coming up with. So your financial documentation, of course, will be based on the actual tuition fees and the living expense. Just for information, you might be aware, but I just wanted others also to know that is the situation. Because even if you're getting a teaching assistant, it has to happen after you reach the college and start, maybe in the second semester or something, you might start getting.
Yeah.
So what your questions, Pranali, or do you have any other doubts?
One last question about it is, what is the actual fees, tuition fees of the course? And that's it. All questions are answered by your side. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. Peter, you want to take that up?
Absolutely. So the out-of-state level tuition fees for graduate students is roughly about $19,000 to $20,000 per year. And then some students have the ability to get in-state tuition, which is closer to about $11,000 or $12,000. You'll find that the level of tuition in North Texas is much, much lower than on the East Coast and West Coast. So you're in a really great economy with a affordable cost of living and a reasonably low cost of tuition. Altogether, that makes this a hugely attractive proposition to launch your career.
Yeah. Chandra sir, may I get your email ID?
Study in USA at Bridg360. There is no E, okay? Sorry, I'm not able to come on the video.
Chandra, I will put it in the chat.
Bridg360.com.
Yeah. Thanks, Peter, for putting up in the chat. It would be of great help. Thanks.
Okay, I think there was a question from Raj Reddy who asked, is it possible to do a PhD from...
Other questions so that for Dr. TPS, what is the situation in the chat and...
Yeah, let us see if there are no questions.
Oh, you can see the chat, right? Okay.
So I can comment on it.
Totally for 6 more minutes so that we...
No, actually, I need to leave. I have another meeting. So I just want to answer the one last question.
For all, we have questions, please ask fast.
I actually need to go to another meeting, so I just wanted to answer this one last question. Raj Reddy asked whether you can do a
question. Other questions you can email to the address. My WhatsApp number will be there in the email, which I'll be following up with the videos. So I'll be sending my WhatsApp number also. Yeah, we'll wait for one more question and we'll have
Chandra, I was answering the question. Okay, thank you. So there was a question from Raj Reddy who asked whether he can do a PhD in the US from India. I don't think that is possible. PhD program requires you to come here to do research.
Yeah, and
and there's a residency requirement.
When a PhD student is funded in the US, it's considered an employment situation as well, and you simply cannot do that from India. Think as well as to, with a PhD, you're really committing to a lab, committing to a research process, and to do that optimally, you really physically have to be there to interact with your colleagues.
Yeah, adding to that one, getting a PhD sitting from India itself is going to be a little tough task. So generally what people do is they try to come to US and start doing a master's again in some other subject or the related subject and then work towards the PhD. That will be the easiest route rather than trying to get a PhD directly from India. Of course, it can happen, but the chances are less compared to if you come here and start working or studying on some areas related to your field of PhD you want to take, then it might be easier.
So Chandra, being respectful for everyone's time, let's turn it back for one word to Dr. TPS, and thank you so much for hosting this fantastic session.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Namaskaram, and I'm so glad Krishnan is there who connected me to Chandra. You have any word to say, Krishna?
No, I just want to say it is a great institution, and being in Texas and supporting some of the efforts of the THECV that Dr. Bridg was saying, and Esteem Peter. It's a great institution, and I think this should be also a session given to our local friends here. But I think this is a great session, and thank you for hosting, and hope more students will come and join the program.
Great. Thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Vijay, and thank you, Peter. We'll keep interacting more. And thank you, Chandra, for.
Thank you, Dr. TPS.
Thank you. Thank you, Chandra, for this opportunity. Yeah.
KK, who has been very instrumental in getting me connected with Dr. TPS.
Recording stopped.
One of the 50 recently got elected from Texas, 50 statesman in Texas. That was an election that was conducted, and he came first in that one. Thank you, KK.
Thank you, Chandra.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.